order this computer. Here we go. Yes, please,
Right.
Fanny, carry on.
Okay. I looked it up. I did an internet search and found I put it in the chat and found a website said that it consists of guna, which we knew, and
Mm,
upeta. So I looked up upeta in this
mm.
one, and it says one who has come near or approached, one who has betaken himself to, approached for protection, arrived at, etc., etc. So is that what Simon said?
Yeah, that would, yes. I mean, that is the original meaning, the upa, up to or toward. So, upeti, that would be the original physical meaning of it.
Okay.
But then by extension of meaning, you've approached it means you have acquired it or you've got it.
Oh,
So
okay.
yes, so original physical meaning, you've approached something and then by extension got it.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Um, yes, Simon, on your query about the imina, no, it's not a separate preposition fully declined. You can find it on page 54, top of page 54 in Perniola, and it appears to be just an alternative form of the more common imina.
I, over the break, I actually used AI to check it, which I don't recommend because it's given me such grief and talks rubbish. But it's, it's claiming here that this ima is a fusion of three separate forms: ima, ena, and idang. So it's basically the same word. It's just another form in the same way that you can have to for the ablative.
Mhm. Okay, right. But on this particular occasion, are you satisfied that it gave you a correct answer?
Um, the thing is, it never admits it's wrong, and so you can never check because if you query it, it spools out masses of self-justifying rubbish, and you just give up. It wears you down. So yeah, I mean, I will just treat it as an alternative. I mean, I'm going. My form of AI is you at the moment.
In fact, who was just recently? It might have been one of the members of our site. It might have been Rob Atkins in Manchester, or was it Greville, who was using AI to research something in Pali and got an answer that just appeared to be incorrect. And he checked it, and yes, it was incorrect. And then he directly confronted the AI. I've checked, this is wrong. Were you saying that just to please me? And confronted with this direct question, the AI system actually admitted that yes, it had been doing it just to please him. It admitted it was wrong. So it can be awfully useful, but you always have to double check. So, um, well, Fenny, would you like to give us a recitation of this verse?
Oh my goodness.
Yes, my goodness, indeed.
Which verse do you want? There are three. The first verse.
Yeah, well, we've done the Pujemi Buddham, you could do the Pujemi Dhammam.
Sorry. Pujemi Dhammam Kusamen Anena Punyena Metena Chahotumokham. I can't do the Pupam Nilaya Tiyata Idam Me Kayo Tatayati Vinasabhawam.
Okay, right. Just remember the to make these the a and the o long e te na cha hu
Ena.
tu mo kam. So the a and the o will always be long, as I say, unless they're forced to be short. In
Okay.
Sanskrit, they are always long, whatever follows. In Pali, the a and the o are long unless followed by a doubled consonant or a consonant cluster. For example, in Mokkam, it's followed by the doubled K, so it'll be pronounced as a short O. It wouldn't happen in Sanskrit. It's still long, moksha. Even if it was a double K, it would be mokka with a long O. But in Pali, it is shortened. There's another word, metta, for example.
Metta, yeah.
Yeah, which so Pali allows the short E. Also, there's some final this anuswara.
Yeah.
The Thais and the Sri Lankans tend to pronounce it with a m at the end, pupang bhavang.
Yeah.
This in the phonetics of Sanskrit and in the phonetics of the Ganges Valley, equally in the phonetics of Tamil, the final M is pronounced like an M, like the standard or ordinary M. So there can be some argument as to whether we should correctly say in Pali bhavang or bhavam. I don't think there's a right answer because if you're following a Thai style or a Sri Lankan style, bhavang. But equally, there's no harm if you want to follow what is likely to have been closer to the speech of the Buddha, namely the pronunciation of the Ganges Valley. That would probably have been just an M, bhavam, pupam, bhavam.
I can stick to that guy. I should laser it.
It doesn't really matter. It's a question of preference and style. My own preference is to pronounce it as closely as I can to the way that we hear the Vedas being chanted, which of course we've got plenty of good evidence for, plenty on the in internet. And that's probably the best evidence we have for how Pali is likely to have been pronounced at the time of the Buddha. But as I say, it's a matter of style and preference. I've been in arguments about it before. I've decided I'm not going to have any more arguments about it. Pure style and I will stand up for the notion that the Buddha is more likely to have, and those who spoke this language around him at the time, more likely to pronounce it was a M sound. But if somebody insists on saying pupang, okay, fine. So be it.
Thank you.
I mean, for example, who would dare to tell a Scotsman that he's pronouncing English properly? I mean, you just don't do it. You don't do it. You stand back.
You say that the purest vowels are in Inverness.
Okay, yes, you do get the purity of vowels in the Scottish speech. I remember an amusing occasion when I was trying to train a Scotsman to pronounce English properly, and I said, he was saying world, world. And I said, say what, say and he said, and I said, now say what, and I was coaxing it out of him gradually, were. And I said, now say world. He says, world. So okay, there we are. We were undergraduates and we were a little bit drunk at the time. I don't think we carried it any further.
I shall say no more, having been brought up in Glasgow.
Oh, you were brought up in Glasgow, were you? Okay then. Yeah, don't tell a Glaswegian his pronouncing, particularly after the pub closing time on a Saturday night. So, Ram, would you like to give us a recitation on the third one with Sangham?
Pujemi Sangham Kusumena Nena Punyena Metena Cha Hontu Mokkam Pupham Milayati Yathaidam Me Kayo Tatayati Vinasa Bhavam.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. So Simon, would you just like to do one again, and then we can move on to the next verse.
Pujemi sanghang kusumena nena, punyena metena chahotu mokkang, pupang milayati yata idamme, kayo tatayati vinasa bhavam.
Okay, wonderful. So we can.
I have to
Please.
say that after the thing about our Celtic fringe, that is the most Irish lilt to ever. That is basically play the drum slowly and play the pipe lowly. Play up the dead march as we go along, and bring me to Tipperary and lay me down easy. I'm a young soldier who never done wrong.
Wonderful.
That is beautifully Celtic. That's
It is.
wonderful.
It delights the heart of an ancestral County Cork man like me. Okay, so we're now on to the Paniya Puja. So, and this is in prose rather than in verse. So, Sugandhang Sitalang Kappam Pasanna Madhuram Subhang Paniyametam Bhagava Patiganhatu Muttamang. As I've mentioned in my note here, there's a bit of a problem with the Visarga, the Uttamang at the end of that. You'd expect it to be Uttamur, but we'll come to that in a moment. So the verb here, the subject of the sentence is Bhagava, the Blessed One, and the verb is Patiganhatu. So this note is the third person singular imperative form, may he receive. Just as we have, for example, huti would be the indicative, hutu is the imperative, hutu will come. We often find this in our chants, bhavatu sabbamangalang rakhantu sabbadevata. This is one bit of very regular grammar, happy to say, to which I'm not aware of any exceptions, is that whereas in the indicative for the third person, you get the indicative ending in ti, bhavati, huti, and in the third person plural, the they, it's with an n, hunti, bhavanti, vadanti. All you do is change that final t or nti to tu and untu, and that gives you the imperative form, so expressing a wish that something may happen. So patiganhatu, may he accept or receive. The use of the pati here, which is prati in Sanskrit, prati in Pali. It's this rather, it has the essential meaning of back in reverse, going back, but it also has the meaning of a reciprocity, like almost like the English prefix counter, counteract, countervail. So doing something in balance with or in response to something else. So ganhati on its own without the pati would just mean takes, ganhati. Patiganhati, which we could invent a word to counter take, it doesn't mean he takes it, but specifically means take in response to being offered. So it has the meaning of accepting. When you are taking something, you just take it. But by the use of the English word, say accept, that implies that you have been offered something. It's only because of the offer that you are able to accept. So patiganhatu means may he then accept it, not just take it, but accept it. So it's the act of taking, but in response to the offer that has been made. That's the force of the pati here. Again, we see this inserted M, which we had in Punyena Metena, Patiganhatum Uttamang, and no grammatical significance at all. It's just to break the hiatus between the two vowels. It could equally well have been written Patiganhatu Uttamang or Patiganhatuttamang, just dropping off this this final U. So all three would be allowable in Pali. Unlike Sanskrit, of course, which would have much more precise rules of Sandhi for this. So may the Bhagava accept etam paniyam, this water. It's the offering of water. Sugandham, Sitalam, Kappam, Pasannamaturam, Subhang are all adjectives qualifying water. So may the Bhagava accept this Sugandham. We know Gandha means a fragrant, Sugandha means fragrant, having a beautiful smell. Sitala would be Shitala in Sanskrit, meaning cool. Kappam, in Sanskrit it is kalpa, would be kalpam, but kappa here means fit or suitable here, I mean suitable to be offered. This is Pasanna Madhuram, this is just a Dvandva compound. It could equally have been written Pasannam, new word, Madhuram, but optionally you can just combine those two separate adjectives into a simple compound. Pasanna Madhuram. Madhura means sweet. It comes from the word madhu, meaning honey. There's a large class of adjectives which are formed by adding ra, the suffix ra, to either to a root or to a noun. So madhu, honey, madhura, honey-like, and therefore sweet. In fact, the madhu is cognate with, well, modern Russian for honey is mied. And our English word mead, spelled M-E-A-D, which is the old honey wine. So it seems that these words, that madhu and our English word mead, are in fact cognate. Subham, subha, Sanskrit shubha, is a general word meaning good or lovely. In its negated form, asubha, unlovely. That's the word that's used in the contemplation of foulness as in the decomposing body, for example. That's the asubha anupasana. It's the contemplation of that which is foul. And subha is just a broad name, not only beautiful, but also in a metaphorical sense or a figurative sense as well. For example, Ram, you would know this, you'd never say to a Hindi speaker, Aapka naam kya hai? You say, Aapka shubh naam, you see. So, that's why when Indians sometimes ask you your name, they say, what is your good name? But there's actually translating from the Hindi, Aapka shubh naam, you see. So it's that same shubha, subha in Pali, just means shubh in Hindi. Prasanna, there's a whole story to this word prasanna. Simon, yes. You're muted, Simon.
I keep unmuting and it doesn't work.
Oh.
With subha, is the bha bit on the end, is that to do with like state or being, so like good being, or is that just accidental?
Oh, no, that's accident. I see what you mean. The answer is no. The root is shub, and there's the root shubhana as well. So yeah, I can see why you thought that, but separate root shub. Originally, it meant bright or light, and then by extension, beautiful and lovely.
Uh, and what about kapam? Is that also kapam in Sanskrit? I thought you
That's actually it's kalpa.
kalpa. Okay, right.
Yes. Now, kalpa, you see, now there's a lot of profound meaning to that word.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay.
Um, and we have the word kalpa meaning an eon of time, a very, very long time, an eon. That's the same. It also becomes also becomes kappa in Pali from the root klip and kalpete. But that the root actually means to arrange or to organize something, um, and then to make a formation in the mind. You organize something in your mind. If you remember the eightfold path, samma sankappa, in Sanskrit, samyak sankalpa. So the sankalpa is the formulation of an intention in the mind. And under Hindu, I'm happy, open to further comment or correction on this, but under the Vedic doctrines and stories of creation, the reason kalpa was used for an eon because the kalpa, which came to mean an organization and something happening in the mind, a formulation in the mind, because the visible universe that lasts for a kalpa is a kalpa in the mind of Brahma. It is a formation in the divine mind. It also has a very mundane meaning in the causative form kalpayati, Pali kapeti. If you give somebody a haircut, kesan kapeti, you kalpa, you put his hair in order. You can bhojanam kapeti, or bhojanam kalpayati in Sanskrit, mean you prepare food. So it has this original meaning of just formulating, arranging something. Then by extension, it has these various extensions. One is an eon because it's a formation in the mind of Brahma, and equally as here, kappa, something that has been properly arranged, therefore suitable and fitting. If you say something nakapati, it's unsuitable, it's unfit. So it's a word with you can see how you get these semantic extensions from that original meaning. Prasanna. Is there anybody here who has a real deep grasp of the meaning of prasanna? In Sanskrit, it would be prasanna, and it's from the noun prasada, which of course we have in Hindi as prasad. Simon, please.
I've got a shallow grasp of it because it's from pasidity, isn't it? Kind of.
Yeah, that's right. It's a slightly irregular because the root is sad, but in the present tense, it's not sadati, but sidati. So nisidati sits down, prasidati settles down. And the same in Sanskrit and Pali, sidati.
So it means kind of settled or purified or clarified out completely.
Yes, it does. That is the root meaning. So we've got our root meaning sad, just to sit. Then,
Sorry.
sorry, Ram, you carry on?
No, but I thought also it means multiple other meanings. Prasanna also would mean to appear, to apparition, or
Yes. And I will explain why to the best of my ability, but the way I'm explaining and formulating is still developing in my own mind. So we have the root meaning, sad, to sit. Prasad is to settle down. The imagery is that of water, and there's mud in the water. The mud is stirred up. The water is muddy. But when the mud, all the flecks, the impurities, prasidanti, they settle down, that leaves the water is prasanna. The water is settled, you see. And therefore it is pure. Now, it's when it's often translated with pasada as something like can be translated, seen it translated something like faith, confidence, and trust. Well, kind of, yes, but the underlying idea is that when you are receiving the Dhamma, you receive it pasadena with pasada, prasadena. Your mind is prasanna. It means that you've cleared your own mind of impurities, that you're putting your own mind in the correct state to receive the Dhamma, so it's with a purified mind. And also, interestingly, among the Hindus, when you give an offering of, an offering of flowers or food to a deity, in Hindi it's called you're offering prasad. I often wondered why prasad was used as a word, or prasada, of course, in Sanskrit, prasad in Hindi. Why was this word used? And then it dawned on me, and I'm really interested in hearing any other ideas that you may have, that you are making an offering to the deity in the hope that the mind of the deity will be full of prasada towards you. It will be open and clear and benevolent towards you. So the prasada here is used in the sense of the clear, benevolent mind, but that's the effect that you're hoping to have on the mind of the deity by making that offering. Any further ideas on this will be very welcome indeed. As I said, this is a developing thing in my mind. Please do, Ram. Please do.
It's kind of in line.
Do you use the word in
Of course,
Tamil?
yeah. It's also prasadam, prasad. It goes in all languages.
Okay, right. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's probably also along the lines of what you said, the mud settling down and the water clarifying. So
Yes.
when you offer something hot or cold or whatnot to the deity, I think what's returned back from the deity is supposed to be purifying whatever metaphorical dirt in what you offer, and then
Yes, yeah.
back, I guess. Yeah, that's probably.
Yeah, I like that notion. So you're making an offering to the deity. The deity will look upon you with benevolence and create a prasada within your own mind. He'll purify you of the defilements.
If you take it one step further, I think whatever you're offering, they have your karma. I mean, regardless of Buddhism, Hinduism, Jainism, whatever, they're all having karmic footprints attached to whatever you offer to the deity.
Yeah.
And it's kind of believed that you're attributing your karma to the deity. So what's returned back is karma free, or in a sense purified.
Yes.
So it's kind
of course, yes. Because in some traditions, I think you find it among the Tibetans, not so much among the Theravadins, I don't think, but maybe a bit, that where there's in the relationship between the guru and the disciple, the guru will sometimes be treated as taking on the bad karma of the disciple on himself, because his own purity is broad enough to take it, but he will be relieving the shishya, the savaka of the bad karma. So yeah, that's I like that extension of meaning you've given, Ram. Yeah, I like that one. It really makes sense. So there's so much to this word. Simon.
Yeah, Ram, did you also say that it meant something like appearance, or did I mishear?
Uh, Pardon? Apparition, prasanna. No, no, not prasada. Prasanna. It's a variant. Yeah.
Hmm.
Prasanna. Prasanna is also a noun and a verb. Correct me, James, if I'm wrong. But prasanna can be used both ways. So if someone is making themselves prasanna, which means if it's used as a verb, they are making an apparition. I mean, it's usually referred to as higher beings and stuff, I guess.
Oh, okay.
An apparition,
Uh-huh.
prasanna. Ah, I hadn't even heard. I hadn't heard of
Yes.
That's a new one on me, Ram.
Yeah.
So,
The
let me just explain the grammar of it. The grammar is in fact quite simple. Let me just call up my iPad again. Here we are.
While you're finding it, James, the I'm about to have surgery on my spine, and
Oh,
the doctor is actually called Prasanna. So I'm hoping
ah,
this means settled rather than apparition.
a very auspicious name, Dr. Prasanna is. Goodness me, I'm sorry to hear that, Simon. When is that due?
Well, NHS, you tell me.
Okay. Oh, well, Bhavatu Mangalam, may you recover well. So keep us informed anyway. Um,
So long as he's not called something like Kampati, trembling.
the trembling, yes. Well, in Pali would be Kampanahati with trembling hand. So what happens is we've got the root sad, um, and see, and it makes a verbal noun prasada. This would very often happen at the short ah in the root often becomes a long ah in the verb. Vadvada sada. All that's happening here is that this is one of those words that makes its past participle by adding na, not ta. So there's a class of verbs in Sanskrit, dinna, sanna, that add a na. Exactly as in English, we have a class of verbs where our past participle ends in en and not ed. Exactly the same, like written, spoken, driven. So it's just a group of verbs ending with an en. It's exactly as has come from, this reflects what we have in Sanskrit and Pali. So it's the past participle is not saddha, but sadna, and by internal sandhi, the sadhana just becomes sanna. So the D merges with the N. So sanna. So in Pali, by the way, remember that although the so is it prasanna is actually is the past participle, but then used as an adjective. Note that in Pali, you sometimes find the past participle as in it's sinna rather than sanna. Sambudho dipadang seto nisinno cheva majhime. So in Sanskrit, it would be nishanna. In Pali, it is nisinna. So that's just a variant per Pali form. So here, if the water is clear and sweet, it looks here as if the meaning of the word is more verging on the literal meaning. It's pure. Any impurities that there were have settled out of it. In fact, in the opening verses of the Dhammapada, you talk about, if you act or speak with a pasannena cetasa, with a purified or a calmed mind. And you can also have vipassana, which would be viprasanna. So this prefix vi here, suggests not only that the impurities have settled to the bottom, prasanna, but viprasanna suggests they've settled and been got rid of as well. So the water is not just pure water with mud at the bottom, but it's the mud is completely removed from the water. That's the further effect with this prefix vi. I've done a note here for those who are interested, how to explain this uttamam. It's grammatically wrong. I mean, I wouldn't often be quite so bold as to say that there's a grammatical error in this chant, but there simply is. To have the uttamam here just that doesn't make sense. You would have expected, Bhagavata Patiganhatu Uttamo, may the Supreme Bhagava. Otherwise, the only thing that Uttamang could refer back to, if it really is correct in neuter form, would be the Paniyam. But would you be describing your own offering of Paniya as Uttama? Don't think you would. This supremely wonderful water that, I mean, technically you could. This is just a bit of a puzzle. The puzzle is either, I'll be right back with you, Simon. The puzzle is either resolved or even deepened by the fact that at the end of the next one, where the sentence structure is the same, but you've got uttama. That makes a bit more sense because the uttama would be the vocative form. Even that leaves us with a slight puzzle, because Patiganhatu, Bhante Patiganhatu, may he accept. But now Uttama is a vocative form, may you accept, but this is in the third person, so we'd expect this Uttamo to be used in the nominative, not the vocative. May you accept. May you, the supreme one, accept. You'd say the imperative, Patiganhahi Uttama, you accept, please, O supreme one. So I put notes on this if you're interested in looking at it further, but this has created, we know what the meaning is, but it's just created a slight linguistic puzzle for me. And do remember that sometimes slight grammatical anomalies do slip in. You tend not to find them in the old suttas, but you do find not infrequently grammatical anomalies in the later monastic chants. For example, in chants emanating from Thailand, you see things expressed in Pali. You say, hang on, that's not real classical Pali. It's kind of Thaiified Pali. Or Pali, which is influenced by the native Thai of the people who have composed it. What the explanation here is, I confess I simply don't know. Another case, unless anyone can enlighten my ignorance, where we just have to be content with our ignorance, just accept that we are ignorant about it. So, Simon, you were about to say.
Just about this one that occurred to me, about Uttama being in the vocative. In Warda, there's a little section about how the Buddha is never addressed directly. It's always, would the Blessed One consent, in the third person. And so this may be a kind of mixture of the two. So Patiganhatu, may it be accepted.
Mm.
And then Uttama kind of reverts, as it were, to you.
I take that point. I mean, Warder is right that normally um, you would use kind of a third person form in certain contexts of reverence or respect. Um, might your lordship want another glass of wine? You see, not do you want, but does your lordship want? Because
Sometimes not even your,
just
his,
does.
would His Majesty require this?
Yes, yeah. So that's an interesting point. So you're right. Just so may the Blessed One, Patikan Hatu, may the Blessed One accept. So, and this could be a kind of a slipping back into a vocative.
Yes,
You'd expect it to be in the nominative. May the Bhagava Uttamo. But I can see the point.
and it's also, I mean, I know it's verse and they can kind of mess the order around. Wouldn't it be a funny place to put Uttamang and Uttama at the end after Patiganhatu? I mean, you wouldn't have that in prose, would you, in the same way?
You wouldn't know. You tend to in regular prose you would put it you put the verb at the end.
So presumably what you're doing with verse is you're finding something like this and then just looking around to see what it agrees with. And in this
Yeah.
case, you can't find anything.
Yes, looking around to see what it agrees with, and the only things that grammatically, or in the first one, the uttamang, the only thing it grammatically agrees with will be the paniyang, the water, but that just seems a little bit illogical.
Utmost water, yeah.
Yes, there's supreme water. This pania, um, there are several words for water. It's udaka and jala are just ordinary words meaning water. Pania is specifically drinking water.
And that
It's it's from a root pa, meaning to drink. So pania literally means drinkable. The distinction has been lost, for example, in modern Hindi and Urdu, and I think other languages of northern India. Pani is just the ordinary word for water, whether drinkable or not. That's become the generalized use of the word water. But it's specifically, if you go back to Sanskrit and Pali, it specifically refers to drinking water.
Sorry, what is the other word for referencing normal water that is
Um,
non-drinkable?
Jala
Ah, okay.
and Udaka as well, both and Udra are the normal words for water.
Yes, yes. There comes the Udrani. I think we were discussing that before. The device that you use for pouring water for puja,
Oh,
Udrani.
that's right. Yes, yes, that's right. You're right. And the word,
And Pani and Jal are just interchangeably used. There's no distinction. It's interesting that you say this. Yeah.
so in Tamil, they're
No, no,
or
Hindi,
in
yeah.
Hindi. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, if you go back to Sanskrit and Pali, they're not interchangeable. Panya, but you're right. In fact, normally, and the most common word for water in Hindi and Urdu is just pani, whether drinkable or not. The notion of drinkability is inherent in the word pania itself, because pania literally means drinkable. Is the actual meaning of the word from the root pa to drink. Um,
not a future passive in the sense of, to be drunk or drinkable.
that's right, it is. It's the ania ending, which is the alternative to the tavya, or Sanskrit tavya, Pali tabba. For example, we have at the very beginning the karaniya metta sutta, the karaniya takusalena. This is to be done, requiring to be done. Grammatically, it could equally have been katabang, In Sanskrit, kartavyam, meaning to be. There's no distinction of meaning in katabba and karaniya.
or kitcha.
Kritya is so kritya in Sanskrit. Kitcha is another where you can just add a ya to the root. Just have a look at this for a moment. So the root plus ya, tabba, and ya. You find all three in use, and occasionally distinctions of usage. Sometimes a verb in one form has come to meet specialized meaning. I can't think of any in my head now. So you can have the same root with different forms of this future passive participle with either with identical meanings or where the meanings have become slightly differentiated from each other. I think that the most common one is the tabba, which is the same as the tavya in Sanskrit. Sometimes with the link vowel I, vid, to know, veditabba, to be known. It's swakato bhagavata dhammo, and then pachattam veditabbo vinyuhiti. So pachattam veditabbo, to be known each for oneself, to be known by yourself, as it was through your own efforts rather than being told. Where were we? Oops.
James,
Simon.
can I just ask about that future passive? Because this was the problem I got into with the AI a couple of days ago. I've just found it in my notes. And I was looking up the original sutta for the stuff in the Geram Karuna Tilake.
Mm-hmm.
And what you find in the sutta is, and it's that thing about few are these and many more are those. It's that sequence, if you remember.
Yes, that's right, yes.
And it's talking about in Jambudipa in India, few are the places which are arama, so like parkland or pleasure grove, ramaneya. Okay, now I originally thought that's an interesting one, because are we talking about ramaneya, future passive, to be enjoyed? It something like ramaneti, and to make enjoy, and then with an optative ending. But it would not give me a straight answer. So I'm wondering if you can help with that one.
I think I might be a bit like AI here. I'm not quite in a position to give you a straight answer on that at the moment. The future passive participle, they must exist. I don't think they're very common. The future passive participle from the causative verbs. We could have an etabba. Here, I think it just means to be enjoyed.
Because there is one ramaniya, which means kind of beautiful or like.
Yeah, but ramaniya then would mean beautiful in the sense of to be enjoyed. Did you see the form aya there with an E-double-Y-A?
Arama ramaneyakam.
It was spelled E-double-Y.
Indeed, yeah.
Okay, right. That is just a variant of the iya form. You occasionally see that variant. In fact, you see it in the Itipisuchan, Supatipanno Bhagavato Savakasango, and Ahuneyo. Dakineyo, Angelikaraneyo. So the first three ayus are just legitimate variants. The last ayu, Karaneyo, is an anomaly that were originated in Cambodia or Thailand. It may have originated even in Nai Boonman's tradition, but it's not classical Pali. And if you look at the morning chant, the longer morning chant, it's actually there. It appears there as Angelikaraneyo, not Neyo. I think it's on page 6, around page 66 or 67 of our chanting book. You'll find it there, put in the classical Pali. I did actually discuss this point with a couple of years ago with Charles Shaw, actually, and he confirmed to me that yes, that was right, but the reason the AU appears wasn't an error. It was because that was how it was done in the particular monastic tradition from which we got it, which might have been Nai Boonman's own one, or separately taught by, I think it's of Cambodian origin. So you might say slightly anomalous Pali.
It is different because I remember wondering before I knew a word of Pali why in the Thai forest sangha it's Uneya, Uneya, Uneya,
Yeah,
Karaniya. So it
yeah,
was different, and I thought that sounds like the same word, but they're pronouncing it differently. But
yeah.
it's different in their chanting book.
I think that it's almost as if you have, okay, Pali is meant to be Pali, kind of a unified Pali is Pali, but you do have, you get slight dialectical variations. And if you say to a Thai monk, you'll pronounce it with a slight Thai dialect, I think most of them would vehemently deny that they're doing any such thing. But so a bit like correcting the English of Scotsman. So you just allow it to happen. I feel fairly convinced it's just a linguistic variation caused by pressures of the native language of those monks. It's pretty harmless. I mean, the deviations are so minor that they don't actually they aren't detrimental to our understanding of what it means. Um, so we have a recitation of this. We're back to you, Sri Animala. Would you like to do a recitation of this one?
Yes,
I'm sure
please.
you know this one by heart.
Sugan,
You must have chanted this
yeah,
many times in the
yeah,
temple.
yes. Every time when you go to pray with Sugandan Sitalang Kapang, Pasanna Maduran Subang, Paniyamitam Bhagava, Patigam.
We've lost you there. I think you've got internet failure. Okay, you're back now. You can say those last two.
Yeah,
Just say the last bit. You cut out at Pratigam, and then it stopped.
yeah, I have internet, yeah. Yeah.
So
Patigang Hatu Muttama.
okay, great, good. Okay,
Hatu Muttama.
say again.
Yeah, Hatu Muttama.
Yeah, Pratigam Hatumuttamang. Good. Fenny,
Yeah.
you.
Sugantam sitalam kapam pasanna maduram supam paniyam etam bhagawa patiganhatum mutamam.
That was pretty good, but just emphasize the doubled consonants a little bit more. Kapam,
Yeah.
tamang.
Uttam.
It is quite important to emphasize those doubles.
Yes, there's always something you miss. No.
Okay, jolly good. Thank you, Fenny. Yes, Ram, would you like to give us a recitation of that?
Sugantam Sitalam Kappam Pasanna Maduram Subham Paniyam Etam Bhagava Patiganhattu Muttamam.
Okay, wonderful. When you are pronouncing Pali, do you make a deliberate effort to have it more on the Hindi side rather than on your native Tamil side? And
Uh,
how is your mind directed when you're pronouncing Pali? I'd be really interested to know.
uh, it depends. I mean, I'm quite fluent and well versed in Hindi and
Of course you
Sanskrit.
are, yeah. Mm.
I'm not thinking much about Tamil, so that's why.
Okay, right. So would it be correct then to say, with your knowledge of Sanskrit, your primary influence would be the standard Sanskrit pronunciation?
Exactly. I learned
Including.
Vedic chants properly and stuff. So,
That accounts for it. Okay, yes. In fact, I'm relieved to hear you say it because I adopt very much the same approach to Pali. Unless I'm having to pronounce it in a Thai way or a Sinhala way, I gravitate towards the way of the Vedic pronunciation.
to be honest, I found it very difficult when I first discovered that you have to pronounce it differently towards the end, the words ending with M, with an ng. I tried it, but I was properly messing it up, so I gave up.
I had the same problem as I was mentioning earlier with exactly that. I wanted to do it in the Sanskrit Vedic way and ending with an which is of course normal to you in Tamil because most of your neuter nouns end in an don't they? But it's only by pressures from my own Samatha Sangha that I've had to do it in a Thai way. Mm. Okay, so this brings us round to you, Simon, and we can wind up then.
Sugandhang sitalang kapang pasanna maturang subhang paniyang etang bhagava patiganhatu muttamam.
Okay, great. So before we wind up, then, any further comments or queries arising out of this? Oh,
Nothing specific to this chant itself, but the Sugantam and Sugantim, looking at that reminds me of a very famous one-line chant in Sanskrit, offering homage, praying for release and moksha. It's
mhm.
Trayambagam yajamahe sugantim pushtivardhanam. So it just goes like so, yeah.
Sugantim Pushtivarta. Yes, that's right. Yeah, it's a very famous old chant. Can you just
Yes.
do it again slowly for us?
Yes, Trayambagam yajamahe suganthim pushtivardhanam urvarukamiva bandhanan mrityor mukshiya mamritat. Meaning you relieve us from this cycle of birth and death. Yeah.
Urvaruka, like a cucumber that is mrityu bandhanan, which is released from
Birth and death cycle, yeah.
the
Bandhanat is a
bonds of
cycle.
death. Mrityu bandhanam. Yes. Um, Actually, I'm glad you recited that because I do have that little chant there pasted to my fridge door in the kitchen.
Nice.
Mhm. Okay, great. So what we can do, we can just stop. We go. So we'll just on 9:15, so we can chant the blessing together and wind up for the evening. So Bhavatu Sabba Mangalang Rakhantu Sabba Devata Sabba Buddhanu Bhavena Sada Suti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalang Rakhantu Sabba Devata Sabba Dhammanu Bhavena Sada Suti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalang Rakhantu Sabba Devata Sabba Sanghanu Bhavena Sada Suti Bhavantu Te. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And I hope one day they will refine the Zoom system so that we really all can chant in harmony. The problem is the slight delays in the sound coming through. Okay, wonderful. So thank you for being with me, and see you all next time round. Okay, thank you then.
Thank you, James.
And
Thank
stop
you.
Have a nice weekend, everyone.
recording.
Goodbye. Bye.
Bye.
Recording. Stop recording.
I thank you. Yeah.